Ghislaine did not want to believe that her father committed suicide. In fact, she said that he was killed because of the way his body was found and that there wasn't water found in the lungs. She did not believe that her father committed suicide. And for the same reasons that, like, they thought that he believed he was above the law. He wasn't the type of person who would commit suicide. And I think they believed that he would, if he was, I don't know, if he was prosecuted, he'd probably win. Or there was just this, she said on the record in an interview with Hello Magazine, he was murdered. And that was what she believed. And so this is Daddy's little girl. He had this affection for Ghislaine. He thought that she looked more like him than the others. He literally said...
She did look like him.
Yeah, exactly. And he said he had 8 or 9 children. And he said, none of my children, not even his wife, would get anything, none of his money, only Ghislaine and the youngest boy, Ian. Because Ian was like him and Ghislaine was his friend. And even in pictures, you could see that he was like proud to have Ghislaine on his arm, but not his wife, Betty. It's like he admired her in this very weird...
And not dissimilar to Donald Trump in the sense that he sort of leaned into Ivanka and her hotness, as he referred to it. And of course, Ian has very much been fighting for Ghislaine's release from jail. So just take us to, because I want to come back to more of her background too, but just take us to where it stands legally at the moment. The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, as we mentioned earlier, is going to see her. She yesterday, or through a connection, let it be known, she doesn't want the documents unsealed, right? Presumably because she's in them and not favourably.
No.
But what did you make of that? And what can Ghislaine possibly have to say? And also, how is it possible that the Justice Department hasn't already spoken to her?
Right. So... like you said.
All right, lots of questions there.
Yeah, let's start from the grand jury testimony, why she wouldn't want it out there. For the reason that you stated, it's not going to make her look good. And any shred of martyrdom that's out there, any shred of sympathy that people have saying, oh, the only person who's been prosecuted is a woman and all these Johns are out there, it's unfair. I think that would be thrown out the window when you actually understand the gravity of her crimes and you see the witness testimony of what these girls have gone through, these survivors. So I could understand that. I don't think it helps her case in the public eye. And now Todd Blanche going to meet with her now.
And also, presumably, it would make it much more difficult for Donald Trump to pardon her.
Oh.
Because even Donald Trump would find that hard to pardon.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's repulsive. It really is. And that's why I don't understand this whole Free Ghislaine movement. It really bothers me. It really bothers the victims, too. And then the whole idea of why hasn't she spoken to the prosecutors yet, right? Well, I've always believed that Ghislaine Maxwell is like extremely shrewd, right? And her power was in holding on to these secrets and that she would figure out a time and the right moment, perhaps politically, to use that to commute her sentence. I don't think that she ever thought she would serve 20-year sentence. And
well, she can't be that shrewd because, first of all, she was found hiding in New Hampshire with silver foil, like bacon.
That is true.
I don't know. It's like, I mean, what world? That's such a conspiracy theory that somehow putting bacon foil around your phone will keep the FBI away.
Why did it take them so long to find her at the same time? I mean,
well, that's a very good point. Maybe it turns out to be more effective than we realized, and she was not.
She was hiding in plain sight. Do you remember, she had a Shake Shack in California? Is that her in France? It was a long, where in the world is Ghislaine Maxwell for months and months and months?
But I think I assumed, like other people, it was because she was actually talking and trying to help the DOJ with their inquiries. But that's presumably wrong.
I don't have the answer to that. I also don't understand why they think that Ghislaine Maxwell would be so useful when so many of the victims have their own John lists and they can tell you stories themselves. Why not just go to the victims? Why do you have to go to Ghislaine Maxwell? I mean, if you want to go through the financial crimes, why not look at the transactions? I mean, she can be helpful to a certain point, but is she really a reliable witness? I mean, she's a criminal.
So what do we think Todd Blanche is actually going to ask her?
The truth is, Joanna, we will never know. And we don't know if there's going to be if he's going to ask questions or if he's going to try to strike a deal with her, or maybe get some information, say this is what Ghislaine Maxwell told us, but, you know, some sort of wink, wink, nod, nod. She doesn't talk about Trump. It's understood that if they use her as some sort of witness in a case, that she'll avoid the third rail. What does that mean for her future? Does she exonerate him? Does she exonerate Trump and seem like the kind of witness that they could put forward to show that the president was not involved? And then does that somehow lead to leniency, a commuted sentence, pardoning? I think it's worth it. I'm sure Trump at this point wants to know, what could she say? And is it, you know, she would know better than anyone besides the girls who have come forward. I think they're probably curious as to whether she's willing to talk and what she would say. That would be my thinking. There's a deal. You don't talk to the feds. Like, you don't talk unless you are going to get something out of it. And that's why I think she's been holding on to this for so long.
Why wouldn't she have talked before, especially when she got a 20-year sentence? I mean, she's
been on appeal process for a while. Maybe
right.
That.
Okay, so you think that because she had to go through the appeal process, she didn't... But I'm very surprised that initially she didn't want to try and strike a deal when she was arrested initially.
I think if you give up all of the goods initially, maybe... I mean, listen, I'm not an expert on criminal defense or how you would think as a defendant, but I would think that if you have really valuable information, you would probably want to hold on to it for as long as you can and then wait for the right moment to strike it. But I don't know that her information is anything different than what would be in the files. Todd Blanche wants to know what she's willing to say about the third rail, and that's Donald Trump. Right?
Why wouldn't she have said this earlier?
Well, if she talks about him, she'll never get a pardon from him.
But she was sentenced in 2022 before he was re-elected, and at a time when no one imagined he would be re-elected.
It's true.
Wouldn't the time to have wanted to do a plea deal be 3 years ago? I don't understand why she would be sitting on this information. The woman is 63. She was sentenced to 20 years in jail. She'll be there until she's 80. Why on earth wouldn't she have come forward if she has any valuable information earlier?
Do you think that she really thinks she's going to spend 20 years in prison? I don't think she does.
Well, I would have thought that any day in jail for someone like Ghislaine Maxwell, who grew up with extraordinary wealth and privilege, and we know, at one point lived with Jeffrey Epstein in the largest private house in Manhattan. I would imagine that every day in jail for Ghislaine Maxwell is a day too many, and that you would bargain everything you have and every scrap of knowledge you have about anybody to get the hell out.
I would agree with you, but then again, look at what just presented itself to her. You've got a president who wants the story to go away, does not want his own name to be laundered through it, and here she is presenting an opportunity to speak, but if she says the right things, to possibly get a deal, leniency, clemency, a pardon. It's almost as if she could have seen this, as if she predicted that there would be an opportunity at some point for her to use her cards. I think her power was always in the secrets and keeping those secrets, and she knew that.
It's a absolutely crazy story. So we've got Mike Johnson having dispatched the House early for recess. Can you imagine any other industry where they go, oh, you know what, we've decided everybody can leave early, go off on holiday early this year. I'm sure that's going to make people frustrated about politicians even more. But we've got various people. James Comer, head of the Oversight Committee, has said that they're not prepared to offer her a reduction in sentence, but if she has information, they want to hear it. Do we think that that's going to come to fruition?
I mean, Alan Dershowitz is out there saying she's going to get some sort of deal, essentially, right? Alan Dershowitz was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer. Alan Dershowitz was close with the Trump administration. Is Alan Dershowitz just talking because Alan Dershowitz does this when news comes out and he wants to insert himself into the news cycle?
This podcast was produced by Devon Rogerino, Anna von Urson, and edited by Jesse Millward.